You are standing at the epicenter of a revolution, a total transformation of the automotive world, the biggest shift we've seen in over 100 years. That sound you grew up with, the familiar rumble, the mechanical roar of the internal combustion engine, it's going quiet. The soundtrack that defined modern life is fading out, and in its place, a new sound, a silent, instantaneous hum. You might think this is all just some distant forecast, a niche experiment, a toy for the coastal elites. You'd be wrong. This isn't a drill. This isn't a future trend. It is a present-day reality, and it is accelerating with a momentum that is catching everyone by surprise. For decades, let's be honest, the EV was a compromise, a choice you made to feel good about the planet, but you always paid a price. You sacrificed range, you sacrificed performance, you sacrificed the basic convenience of just going for a drive. That era is over. Today, the switch to electric isn't a compromise, it's an upgrade. The transition is being driven by a powerful convergence of forces. We're talking overwhelming financial benefits, cold, hard cash back in your pocket. We're talking a superior driving experience that makes a gas car feel primitive. And we're talking about a technological ecosystem that is fundamentally leapfrogging the 20th century. The question is no longer if your next car will be electric, the only real question left is when, and why you should make that switch right now. Right here on Dravexa, we are going to deconstruct this entire shift. We're breaking down the true cost of ownership. We'll explore the revolutionary performance. We will critically examine the full environmental life cycle, the good, the bad, and the batteries. And we will bust every single myth you've ever heard about living with an EV in 2025. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Dravexa. You are not going to want to miss what we have for you. Let's talk about the money, because for most people, the first and biggest barrier is the sticker price. You see that number and you immediately think, that's too high. It's an undeniable fact. A new electric car costs more upfront than a comparable gas car. But that sticker price, that's just the down payment. It's not the true cost. You need to look at the hidden number, the one that really matters, the total cost of ownership. This is where the entire script gets flipped. The most immediate, most dramatic saving you will feel is at the pump, because you don't go to the pump anymore. Think about this. Over 80% of all EV charging happens at home, overnight. You plug your car in just like your smartphone. You're using your stable residential electricity rate, not the crazy, volatile price of gasoline. A typical EV running 3 or 4 miles per kilowatt hour, that's like paying $1 per gallon of gas, or less. The data from Europe just in for 2025 makes this crystal clear. In France, fueling an EV for 100 kilometers costs you maybe 3 to 6 euros. That same trip in a gas car, 10 to 15 euros. That's a 1,200 euro saving every single year. This isn't just a saving, it's a fundamental shift. You are uncoupling your daily life from the volatile world of oil and gas. You get a predictable, budgetable expense. But the fuel, that's just the start. The next part is the vanishing maintenance schedule. Your internal combustion engine is a mechanical masterpiece of chaos. Hundreds of moving parts, pistons, valves, belts, gears, all fighting each other, all lubricated by oil, all triggered by thousands of tiny explosions every single minute. It's complex, and that complexity demands constant, expensive service. Now, look at an electric motor. At its simplest, it has one primary moving part. The entire system is sealed. So what does that eliminate? No oil changes, ever. No exhaust system, no mufflers, no catalytic converters, no sensors to fail, no transmission fluid, no spark plugs, no fuel filters, no timing belts. The savings are dramatic. We're seeing data that EV maintenance costs are 30 to 50% lower than a gas car. The only things you service are cabin filters, washer fluid, and tires. Even your brake pads last 2 or 3 times as long thanks to a clever bit of tech called regenerative braking. And we'll get to that. But you're thinking, but what about the big one, the battery? That 5-figure replacement fear that everyone talks about. That fear is largely outdated. Today, every EV maker warranties that battery for a minimum of 8 years and 100,000 miles. And recent fleet data shows these modern liquid-cooled packs are only degrading at about 1.8 to 2.3% per year. Think about that. After 150,000 miles of driving, your battery will still, in almost all cases, hold over 80% of its original range. The battery isn't a ticking time bomb, it's an asset that will outlast the rest of the car. And that longevity has stabilized the resale market. People know these cars last. They know gas cars are on their way out, so the EV holds its value. When you combine the cheap fuel, the near-zero maintenance, and the strong resale value, the entire calculation flips. That 2025 analysis? Over 5 years, a small EV is definitively cheaper than its gas equivalent. The more you drive, the more you save. If this kind of financial breakdown is what you're here for, do us a favor and hit that like button. It lets us know we're on the right track. And make sure you're subscribed to Dravexa because what we're about to show you next is the real reason you'll make the switch. The money is one thing, that's the logical part. But this next part, this is about the feel. This is about the simple act of driving. And you need to understand this isn't just a different way to power a car. It's a fundamentally better experience. The technology doesn't just replace the engine, it re-engineers the entire dynamic. It changes everything. It all starts with something called instant torque. Think about your gas car. You press the pedal, what happens? The engine has to rev, the transmission thinks about it, it downshifts, then the car accelerates. It's a process. It's a delay. In an EV, the experience is binary. It's off or on, 0 or 100. Here's the magic. Electric motors deliver 100% of their available torque at 0 RPM, the instant you breathe on the pedal. The response time isn't measured in seconds, it's measured in milliseconds, under 50 to be precise. Your brain can't even process the command before it's already happening. What does that feel like? It feels like a seamless, silent, immediate surge. It's not a rumble and build, it's a push. And no, this isn't just about those thrilling 0 to 60 times, even though your average family EV can now embarrass a muscle car. This is about total, absolute confidence in everyday driving. You see a gap to merge on the highway, you take it. You pull out into traffic, you are gone. No lag, no hesitation. The car is simply an extension of your foot. But this brutal instant response is paired with profound silence. Think about it. No explosions, no vibration, none of what engineers call NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. That's all gone. It creates this serene, almost premium cabin environment. You finish a long drive, and you don't feel that buzz, that fatigue. You just feel relaxed. But as revolutionary as that is, it's not even the biggest change to the driving experience. This next part is. It's called one-pedal driving, and it's made possible by regenerative braking. Here's the concept, pay attention. When you lift your foot off the accelerator, the electric motor that propels the car instantly reverses its function. It becomes a generator. This creates a smooth drag on the drivetrain, slowing the car down while simultaneously capturing all that kinetic energy and feeding it right back into your battery. This has 2 mind-blowing benefits. 1, efficiency. In your gas car, every time you hit the brake pedal, you are wasting 100% of your forward motion as heat. It's just gone. In an EV, you recapture that energy. You get it back, extending your range, especially in stop-and-go city traffic. 2, a better way to drive. You can now control the car's speed almost entirely with one pedal. Press to go, ease off to slow down, lift off completely to come to a smooth stop. Your brake pedal is just for emergencies. It's simpler. It's more intuitive. It's more engaging. Let us know in the comments if you've tried one-pedal driving. It's a total game changer. And if you're enjoying this deep dive, smash that like button for the Dravexa crew. Finally, there's the skateboard advantage. You see, EVs are built completely differently. The battery is a flat, wide pack that makes up the floor of the car. The motors are tiny and sit right at the axles. This architecture, this skateboard, unlocks benefits that a gas car, designed around a bulky engine and a transmission tunnel, can never, ever match. What does this do for you? First, a center of gravity that's almost on the ground. You get exceptional, go-kart-like handling. The car feels planted, secure, with almost zero body roll in the corners. Second, space. So much space. With no engine bay and no transmission tunnel, designers can push the wheels to the absolute corners. You get this cavernous, totally flat-floored interior. A mid-size EV often has the interior volume of a full-size luxury sedan. And the final party trick? No engine means you get a frunk, a front trunk. An entirely separate, secure cargo area right where that oily engine used to be. It's the perfect spot for groceries, or to separate your takeout food from the cabin. It's just smart. Okay, let's get into the real debate, the environmental thesis. You think you know the number one reason, right? Zero tailpipe emissions. It sounds good, but this isn't just a marketing slogan. It's an immediate, direct impact on the air you breathe every single day. That ugly brown smog you see over the city, that particulate matter, that toxic NOx that contributes to asthma and lung disease, in an EV, it's just gone. A massive, undeniable win for public health. But you're smarter than that. You're here on Dravexa because you want the real story. And you know zero tailpipe isn't the whole story. It's not enough. We have to look at the complete life cycle. From the moment the raw materials are dug from the earth, to the energy used in the factory, to the car's life on the road, all the way to its disposal and recycling. The full picture. And here is the hard truth. Manufacturing an EV, especially that giant lithium-ion battery, is an energy-intensive process. So on day one, that shiny new zero-emission car actually has a bigger carbon footprint than a gasoline car. It starts its life in debt. So the only question that matters is, how long does it take to pay back that debt? We looked at the brand new 2025 data. The answer? Shockingly fast. An EV in the EU, on an average power grid, has 73% lower life cycle emissions than a comparable gas car. And that initial manufacturing debt? It's paid back after just 17,000 kilometers. That's about 10,500 miles. For most of you, that's just 1 year of driving. After that, for the next 200,000 miles of its life, it's all environmental profit. The gap just grows. But here's the real magic, the cleaner grid multiplier. Think about this. A gasoline car is as clean as it will ever be on its first day. An EV gets cleaner over its lifetime. How? Its emissions are locked to the power grid. And as that grid adds more solar, more wind, and retires coal, the emissions per mile of your car automatically fall. That new study? It found life cycle emissions were 24% lower just since 2021, simply because the grid got cleaner. Your EV gets better while it's sitting in your garage. If you think that's incredible, hit that like button. This is the kind of data we love to find for you here at Dravexa. Meanwhile, the gas car? Its efficiency is fixed. Its emissions are locked in. And the energy it takes to extract, refine, and transport its fuel, that only gets worse. Now, we have to talk about the battery. We can't ignore it. This is the central moral challenge of this entire green transition. We're talking about mining. We're talking about lithium and cobalt. And the supply chain is fraught with issues. A huge chunk of the world's cobalt comes from the Congo, from mines linked to human rights abuses and child labor. And lithium extraction, especially in South America, is incredibly water-intensive, threatening fragile ecosystems. These are not small problems. They are the central challenge. But the industry is responding, and this is where it gets interesting. First, they are changing the chemistry. The reliance on cobalt is vanishing. Why? Because the industry is moving at lightning speed toward LFP batteries, lithium iron phosphate. These are cobalt-free, they are cheaper, and they have a longer cycle life. This isn't a future tech, it is already the dominant battery in the world's largest market. We're actually doing a whole deep dive on LFP battery tech very soon, so make sure you are subscribed to Dravexa with notifications on. You will want to see that. And the second solution, the circular economy. You have to stop thinking of an EV battery as waste. It's not. It's an asset. The raw materials inside are far too precious to just throw away. A massive new recycling industry is being built right now, capable of recovering over 95% of those critical minerals. But here's the best part. Even before it's recycled, it gets a second life. A battery that's too old for a car, say at 70% capacity, can be taken out and used to power a house or to back up the power grid for another 10 or 15 years. It's a closed loop. Nothing is wasted. Okay, so the money makes sense, the drive is incredible, but for the beginner, this is where the real anxiety kicks in. That little voice in the back of your head. What happens if I run out? What happens if I'm stranded? How long does it take to charge? Is the infrastructure even ready for this?
So let's talk about it. Myth versus reality. The fear is that you'll be stuck on the side of the road with a dead battery. The reality? Let's look at the data. Your average daily commute is less than 40 miles. The average new EV in 2025? It has an estimated range of over 270 miles. You see the gap? 95% of all your daily trips are easily covered. But to really get this, you have to change your entire mindset about fueling. This is the paradigm shift. You stop going to the station. Instead, you plug your car in at night, just like your smartphone. You wake up every single morning with a full tank. Think about that. No more stopping on the way to work. No more watching the price signs spin. For the vast majority of owners, public charging is something they only use on a long-distance road trip. If that idea alone just changed your perspective, do us a favor and hit that like button. It lets us know you're enjoying this deep dive. So, what about those road trips? You need to know the public network is exploding. It's expanding at an exponential rate. In Europe alone, 9.3 million electric cars are supported by a network that's about to hit 3.9 million public charge points. And this network is really two different tools. First, you have level 2 charging. Think of these as destination chargers. You find them at the mall, at the office, at your hotel. They are perfect for topping up while you're doing something else. But then you have DC fast charging. This is the one you care about. These are the gas stations of the EV world. You find them on every major highway. They are designed for one thing, to get you back on the road fast. A modern EV can go from 10% to 80% charge in 20 to 30 minutes. That's just enough time to grab a coffee, stretch your legs, and you're gone. But here's the kicker. The EV you buy today, it's already a sophisticated computer on wheels, but the technology that is on the immediate horizon is going to make this entire ecosystem seem quaint. We're talking solid-state batteries. This is the holy grail. Imagine batteries that are safer, batteries that are lighter, batteries that have 50 or even 100% more energy density. We are talking 500, 600 miles of range, and imagine charging them in as little as 10 minutes. This isn't science fiction. This isn't a lab experiment. This is in prototype and pilot production right now. We're covering this bleeding-edge tech every single week, so if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to Dravexa with those notifications on. But even that is not the most transformative technology. This is the one that changes society. It's called vehicle-to-grid, V to G. This means your car, with its new bidirectional charger, doesn't just take power from the grid, it can give it back. This one piece of tech transforms your car from just a car into a mobile power plant. The implications are staggering. We're talking vehicle to home. A blackout hits your neighborhood. Your house doesn't. Your car's massive battery automatically kicks in and powers your entire home for 2 or 3 days. We're talking grid stabilization. You can program your car to sell its power back to the grid during peak hours, when electricity is expensive, and then automatically recharge itself overnight when power is cheap. You don't just save money, you make money. Your car becomes an active part of the energy grid. It's no longer just a machine for moving, it's a machine for living. But you're still skeptical. I can hear you. You're waiting for the gotcha. You're in the comments right now typing the "yeah, but" arguments. So let's get into it. Let's address the skeptics head on. The first one I always hear, what about cold weather? And it's a fair question. The truth, yes, cold saps your range. A brand new 2025 study from the Canadian Automobile Association confirmed it. They saw a range loss between 14 and 39% in sub-zero temperatures. Why? It's two things. The battery chemistry itself slows down, and more importantly, you have to heat the cabin. But here's the rebuttal. This is a manageable, solvable engineering problem. Modern EVs use hyper-efficient heat pumps. Think of it as a reverse air conditioner to warm the cabin. And you use preconditioning. You heat the car while it's still plugged in. You use the grid's power, not your batteries. By the time you unplug, the cabin is warm, the battery is ready, and your range is protected. It's a non-issue. Next skeptical argument? The grid can't handle all these cars. And the truth is, if every single person plugged in their EV at 6 p.m. on a hot summer day, yes, you'd blow a local transformer. But that is a fantasy scenario that will never happen. This transition is gradual. Utilities have decades to plan and upgrade. More importantly, the solution is smart. It's called smart charging. Your car doesn't charge the second you plug it in. You tell it, and your utility tells it to charge at 2 a.m. during off-peak hours, when the grid has massive amounts of unused capacity. And as that V2G tech we talked about becomes standard, the car fleet isn't the problem, it becomes the solution. It becomes a giant distributed battery, absorbing excess renewable energy and saving the grid when it's stressed. Then there's the big scary one. But what about the fires? The truth is, when an EV battery fails, it can enter thermal runaway. It is violent and very difficult to extinguish. That's a fact. But this is a classic case of perception versus statistics. You are currently driving a car with a tank of highly flammable, highly explosive liquid. We've just gotten used to it. Data consistently shows that EVs are dramatically less likely to catch fire than a gasoline or even a hybrid vehicle. It is simply not a statistical risk. And the final one, it just takes too long to charge. A DC fast charge is 25 minutes. A gas tank is 5, right? Wrong! You are comparing the 1% use case with the 99% use case. For your daily life, your charging time is the 10 seconds it takes to plug the car in when you get home. It is infinitely more convenient than making that weekly dirty diversion to a gas station.
And that 25-minute stop on a long road trip? That's just called a responsible driving break. Get a coffee, stretch your legs. We bust myths like this every single week. If you appreciate this nonsense analysis, smash that like button and make sure you are subscribed to Dravexa. We need you in this community. So here it is, the verdict. The transition to electric. It's no longer a fringe movement, it's not a maybe, it is a full-scale industrial, economic, and social pivot. Buying an EV in 2025 is no longer a gamble. It is not a sacrifice. It is quite simply the rational decision. You get a superior driving experience, you get a lower total cost of ownership, and you get a critical environmental win. All those remaining hurdles, the anxiety, the infrastructure, the materials, they are being solved with breathtaking speed by a wave of innovation. Your next car is not just a purchase, it's an investment in the next century of mobility. So the question is no longer, why should I? The real question is, why would you wait?